Alright folks, how you all doing? Hope you're getting safe out there. Today I'm taking a look at a Marvel Legends figure. It's the Marvel Legends Alex Ross designed Iron Man. It's just labelled as Iron Man on the packaging, but it's the suit of armour designed by Alex Ross for the Iron Man series starting in 2020. And to be fair, this is a rather nice figure. I'm not going to say perfect, but still, I like it. It's an okay figure. As with most things I get nowadays, I picked this figure up from the fine folks over at Comics and Cocktails. If you want anything in the UK, they're probably the best people to get it from 99% of the time. A few places might have things in a few days earlier, but when it comes to customer service and just great quality of service and great deals, I really can't fault these guys. So yeah, this figure is based on the Alex Ross designed armour that first debuted in the Iron Man series that started in 2020. Not to be confused with Iron Man 2020, which was a series in 2020. This is a rather nice designed armour. I'll get into the backstory of where this armour design came from and why it was made, because it's a kind of a unique and interesting story, I think, or in my opinion, shall I say. This armour was designed by Alex Ross, one of the most talented artists in comic books for the last 30 years, if not more. Most people in the comic book world will know him from his fantastic work with DC, such as probably is kind of the DC magnum opus in my opinion, Kingdom Come, a fantastic, just artistically beautiful book, all about a dystopian, well, not dystopian, that's the wrong word, a future of the DC universe where the generations clash, and Alex Ross's art style is just superb with this painted sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It feels less like comic book art and more like, well, high art. It's the only way I can really describe it. It's just all truly beautiful. And it's something actually, it's one of those books where I always recommend people, even if not into comic books, pick up an Alex Ross book because they are just stunning. In fact, Kingdom Come was so successful with all the DC characters that were in fact actually redesigned by Ross, the vast majority of them, shall I say, that a few years later someone asked him, oh, would you do the same thing for Marvel? And he offhandedly did a few sketches, and Marvel turned that into the Earth X series, Earth X, Universe X, Paradise X. Yet again, a series set in a future where the generations of the Marvel Universe sort of clash against each other. Though this was more because of an event that turned most of the world into mutants, and kind of how society went from there, as well as other characters having some other strange transformations and alterations to them. It's actually a really great book, well, really great series of books, shall I say, and it really allowed Alex Ross to flex what I kind of think is his greatest talent, drawing sort of armoured and metallic and robotic creatures or individuals. Like, I love his covers with Machine Man or Iron Man 2020. In the book, he even had a version of the Avengers where they were all robots designed by Tony Stark, called the Iron Avengers. They all looked fantastic with this sort of like neoclassical design, and everything looked chrome and shiny and beautiful. And yeah, it was a fantastic book, and obviously Ross, being such a highly sought after artist, Marvel snapped up for other things. He did the covers for their Secret Wars series, which may be coming to the MCU in a few years. When you just look at this big splash he did for it, it's absolutely stunning, the amount of detail, all the little bits from different Marvel universes, everything just looks, as I say, his art is pretty much unparalleled in my opinion. And even did all the individual covers and like a couple of variant covers for the series, and each and every one of them is a masterpiece worthy of being framed as a large poster or just as a large piece of art. It's just stunning. And luckily he's also done a few, well, I say a few, he's done quite a few ongoing series from Marvel. Obviously the covers only, because this just sheer quality of work couldn't be done for every page in the book on a monthly basis. But he did all the covers for The Immortal Hulk, a fantastic series I highly recommend reading. And his art is just beautiful on all these covers. And luckily, I think for everyone involved, one of the things Ross does best, as I did say, is sort of mechanical machinery, and Iron Man in particular always looks stunning done by Ross. And so we were so lucky when Marvel approached him and said, look, we want to do a new a new Iron Man series. but we kind of want something with a bit more of a classical design to the armour. Could you maybe design it for us? And luckily he did. Ross went back to the drawing board and created this, I say, neoclassical armour. It takes a lot of design cues from the classic red and gold, but adds in some modern touches, while at the same time the brief was for it to be something that's not overtly sci-fi, over techy, much more in line with the classic design of Iron Man. You know, the armour in the suitcase, the multiple parts connecting together, something more feasible than fantastical. And what Ross designed was this beautiful, beautiful suit. And as they say in the book, and as Marvel have said, he put the iron back in Iron Man, and this suit is just, well, this armour, shall I say, is a beautiful, beautiful design. And okay, as I said, like, he only does the covers, and the interior art though is done fantastically. I have no complaints. This isn't one of those cases where, you know, the cover art is fantastic and the interiors are terrible, like the Spider-Man 2099 series was for a long while. The interiors of this book are still fantastic. This is actually one of my ongoing series I still collect. It is absolutely stunning, interiors and exteriors. And as I say, Ross is doing the covers. The cover for issue 1, I really want to get as a giant poster. It's a wonderful spread of Iron Man and his villains. Even the individual covers, I think, are just absolutely gorgeous. It's actually a really great series. As I say, it's Iron Man trying to get back to basics, but sort of fate seems to decide otherwise. So what he's trying to sort out, like little things on Earth, trying to help more the little people. Not little people, that sounds well, actually, the whole thing is he's trying to help the common man, but everyone's like, yeah, but you're still a multi-billionaire and you kind of think you're above us all. But he is trying to help them, but fate seems to intervene. He seems to get dragged into larger and larger conflicts, being dragged off to space to deal with cosmic stuff, and there's a weird twist of fate, trying to be more man and, you know, trying to be more low-tech. He does end up getting the power cosmic and being transformed into a large, almost Galactus, well, power level almost on par with Galactus or the Silver Surfer, cosmic power, basically gets the power cosmic and becomes the Iron God, and that is an interesting bit of the story. I actually do really like it. And if Hasbro wanted to make a figure of this design, yet again by Ross, just take my money, take my blood, take my legs, take everything, just give us this arm as a figure. Another great thing this series has also done, pretty much from the very first issue, Patsy Walker, Hellcat, has been a major supporting character, and her and Tony Stark have gotten together, and I really like it because they just work really well together. And there is a Hellcat Marvel Legends figure. I do really want it. It looks, I give it like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 aesthetically. I really do want it, but it's just a little expensive at the moment. Maybe if I can get one on the cheap, I'll have to get it. I probably will have to get it, but yeah, maybe wait till those prices come down. But with all that, this is, as I say, this is still a fantastic design suit of armour by Alex Ross. And this figure actually really represents it really well. So let me just get back now to the actual figure itself. This figure is an entirely new sculpt from head to toe. Everything on it is new. It's all pinless as well, like most, or should I say, most of the good modern Marvel Legends figures. And yeah, it's detailed fantastically. They've took Ross's design, transposed it into a 3D figure beautifully. Some debate might be had whether or not the reds and the golds are the right sort of hues. I maybe would have preferred it to be more like the 80th anniversary, where it's a very gold and a very cherry red. But no, this still works really well. The arc reactors dotted around the body are all done in a very plain white. That is in keeping with the art. There may be a little bit of a shimmer or something just to imply energy rather than a pure blank whiteness. Might have been preferred. The figure is not, as I said, it's detailed, but there's still kind of a feeling of plainness to it. I don't know really how to describe it. It's complicated in a simple way, and if that's good or bad, I can't quite decide yet. The head sculpt on the figure is really nice. It's armoured. Also, say it's just the helmet. You can't see any eyes through it, which is nice. I always like that, so you can take the helmet off and have it on the side as an actual helmet, rather than having a pair of human eyes poking out of it on a table somewhere. There is a nice sheen to everything. As I say, it's all a very sort of metallic-esque plastic. One little bone of contention there is with this figure, and it's actually mainly to do with the actual design itself. Alex Ross designed the faceplate to be all gold, including all of the lower jaw. much more in keeping with classical Iron Man armours, but all the artists apart from him seem to go with a much more modern movie-esque design where only the chin part of the jaw is gold and the rest is red. It's all artistic preference, and personally I could go either way with it. Luckily, however, this figure does go with the Alex Ross design of an all-gold face. This figure is also articulated really well. Ish. A slight bone of contention here. As you can see, it's got all the joints you'd want. The neck's one of these lovely double barbell jointed ones. There's loads of articulation there. Universal shoulders, double jointed elbows, wrist swivels and hinges. An upper diaphragm joint with a ball joint rather than an actual waist swivel. It's okay. It fits the character because the character himself isn't meant to be like overly acrobatic. It gives all the range of motion you'd really want with him. A waist swivel below that might have been nice to have just to extend the range which you can naturally rotate. It's not too bad. Universal hips with a thigh swivel, which is where one of the issues comes in. The golden part of the armour is a soft plastic overlay, same as the shoulders actually. The pad there is a soft plastic overlay. It doesn't get in the way exactly. It kind of does at the most extreme of joints, but my issue is more that it may eventually dent or misform with constant movement. It's designed to move out of the way, but I kind of fear it will, as I say, bend or buckle and stay in these weird positions it gets into when you move the joints. Nothing yet, and it may just simply be fixed with a hairdryer or some heat, but it is something to maybe consider. Oh, and of course he's got double jointed knees, ankle tilts and rockers, all that great stuff. And I say, gave him some great poses. There aren't really any Iron Man poses you want to get this figure into that you can't get him into. And in terms of accessories, he comes with what most Iron Man figures come with. Obviously a pair of fists and a pair of repulsor blasting hands. These are quite nice. They're like the ones that came with the modular Iron Man armour, so they actually still have a wrist tilt. Really nice. It's just much more emotive rather than having them permanently stuck, flat out. They are sculpted just as well as the ones with the fists, so no complaints there. It does only come with, well, in terms of blast effects, it comes with two very small ones. I think these are the interior ones, or maybe the small ones that came with the Ironheart figure. And actually, kind of think of his other accessories, that probably is where they come from. They're just a plain yellow. They're a little small and unimpressive. And just speaking of unimpressive, he also comes with the contrails or smoke effects that came with Ironheart. Except this time they're just cast in a clear, slightly coloured plastic, or might just be just a general effect of being clear plastic. They look slightly smoky, but they're not great. They're designed for a figure with much more slender legs than what he's got, and so they always look a bit weird, and with that really weedy blast effect, it all just looks a bit naff, if I'm honest. It's very clear that it's unpainted plastic. It's just either plastic which is dyed yellow or left sort of clear. Not fantastic, not brilliant. Where this figure does shine, however, is if you've got other Iron Man figures in your collection, especially the modern ones, because you can use the larger blast effects that came with the ones like the 80th anniversary, like War Machine, like Iron Man 2020. They work great with him, especially if you've got 4 copies of the boot thruster effect. They work fantastic in his hands as well as his feet. Always my preferred way of displaying a flying Iron Man is with 4 of those. And yeah, he just looks fantastic with all these pieces. He does the one thing I always love to do with them as well. If you use the smoke and blast off effects that came with War Machine and or Iron Man 2020, you can have him in that taking off or landing pose. I always think this looks fantastic, especially when you've got him using his hands to land and kneeling, taking the impact of the landing. Still one of my favourite poses, and this figure does it really, really well. One thing I do kind of wish it also came with, which he didn't need to come with it in essence, but it didn't really need to come with it specifically, but maybe a Tony Stark head, because if you've got Iron Man figures, you've probably got 1 or 2 Tony Stark heads floating about. I couldn't get the 80th anniversary one to fit, but the one that came with the stealth repaint of that armour for some reason fitted better. The one that came in the Ursa Major wave. I think the ball joint in there has been softened slightly, or maybe the plastic is just a bit more forgiving and it managed to go over the ball. It looks okay. I kind of wish I had a more modern Iron Man head sculpt in my collection. Somewhere between the one that came with the Invincible Iron Man armour and the one that comes with that Marvel Legends 20th or 30th anniversary. 20th anniversary, I think it's 20th, the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Iron Man, somewhere between those two maybe, but this one that came with the stealth armor Iron Man fits okay. I'd say all in all this is an okay figure. I do really like it. Comparing him to some other figures in my collection, here he is with two more Alex Ross Iron Mans, or Alex Ross Iron Men, yeah, it's better. The 80th anniversary one, this one has an actual alternate head that came with it, which is an Alex Ross design faceplate and helmet. Looks great, same as the Iron Man 2020 figure. Alex Ross drew Iron Man 2020 a fair bit, and I think it'll look great. You see what I mean, where I think maybe somewhere between those two, the reds and the golds on all three of these figures are different, and I kind of wish that maybe this Iron Man figure, I don't know, took a bit more of the richer gold or the deeper gold from Iron Man 2020, and maybe a bit more of that cherry red from the 80th anniversary figure. Mix and match those, or putting those two different tones and colours together, I think would have worked much better. But yeah, again, we never know, we might get a re-release this figure with those colours. I can't really complain because it's still a nice colour palette they've used on this figure. Here's for some larger figures in my collection, just so you can get a real size of, a real sense of scale with this guy. The 80th anniversary Hulk and the Retro Rhino. I say he's not a massive figure, but he works well with them. And here he is with two characters from, that have been in the series, the current ongoing. Frogman, who I think is actually now his sponsor at Rehab. That's funny. And the Guardsman armour. Yet again from that Ursa Major wave, who did make a small appearance in the ongoing as a rather unfortunate villain. Yeah, Indiana Jones did. One shot, boom, gone. Yeah, all in all, this really is an okay figure. I don't know why I say okay, because I think everything about it should make it fantastic. And I'm not quite sure why it isn't hitting those notes with me. I don't know if it is the red and the gold used, maybe not popping as much as I'd like, or maybe because it is just so simplistic. I wonder if that's it. I'd say Alex Ross designed this armour to be Iron Man back to basics, and it is very basic. And yeah, maybe that's my problem. Or maybe I'm expecting bells and whistles when really I should be expecting classic. And this figure is definitely classic. It is a fantastic figure. Yeah, it is a fantastic figure. If you can get it, I recommend it. This armour may not go down in history as being like one of the greats, like I say the modular Iron Man from the 90s or the very classic red and gold, but I still think it's a fantastic design by Alex Ross, and anything by Alex Ross I think carries a lot of weight. Well, that's it folks, hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below, and if you've not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!